it's so funny how God will bring you back to a state of a place where you thought you left. God has a way of like bringing you backwards into this place where you thought you left. Like for me, I thought I was in this stage of growth and improvement, but really I was in this stage of uncertainty. Like he brought me back to uncertainty. So I think the whole idea of change is, it's like you will go through these different aspects. You won't go through them like chronological order. You'll experience them sporadically. They don't have an order to it. I wrote the book like it's transformation, and it goes through all these stages, but at any given point in time, you could be caught in one of these aspects of change. You have to understand where you are in this change, in the change continuum. Where are you at? Are you uncertain right now? Are you transforming? Are you doing transformational change? Are you resisting change? Is change resisting you? Like, are you on the other end of that resistance? Because you're trying to push something and somebody else is trying to resist you. Like, you have to understand where you are and what aspect of it that you're in. Like, growth and development is like the most painful process you could possibly be, because people are feedback. They're ripping you literally apart to grow you up, to grow your muscles. They're going to give you some hurtful things. They're going to say some very mean things. Well, it feels mean, but it's really the holes, the things you don't see, the blind spots in your life. That's what is going to help you ultimately grow and develop. Improvement, continuous improvement process is like, it's like being in I love it when Myron Golden talks about, he's like, yeah, I'm on a satellite. He's like, I've started, but now I'm like maintaining what I got. So it's just improving upon the things that I've already established. So like, it's like floating in the stratosphere is that continuous improvement process, or the evolutionary process. Evolutionary is painless. Because you put something in the hopper and you just turn it, and then it just produces a product for you. But you've already created this system that is successful. So you don't have to do all that growth and all that like development piece. That development piece, woo, that'll make you quit. When somebody's trying to develop you, oh my gosh, you feel like you feel like somebody, like they hate you. It's so funny. And I think, Mom, when the Bible, like when Jesus talks about persecuted, you're going to be persecuted in my name. It's about developing Christians. That's the aspect of change, that change process for the world. Christians had to like go through this persecution, which is for their own development. And I believe is what Jesus was. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Jesus was saying that, hey, no, this is for your development. In order for you to change the world around you, you have to develop. But the development process, that is something that not for the faint of heart. You're going to want to grow. You're going to have to grow. You're going to have to take yourself to the next level. And to get to that next level, you're going to have to develop, but you're going to have to go through some things, some persecutions. You're going to have to be on the other side of a middle finger or two. You're going to have to get spit on. You're going to have to get spit on. And in some cases, you're going to have to die for it. Because the development is not always is bigger than you. It's about somebody else getting to that next level, or the world transitioning to a whole nother set of mind. A collective group of people, like your death saves millions. The martyrism of humanity or humankind, the laying your life down for the greater good of millions of people, or to move us from one age to the next. That's important. That is so important. I believe like we have to get to that point, like where where you recognize where you're at in the change process, right? Where aspect you are in the change process. If you understand where you are in that change process, then you can really, like, because you acknowledge where you are, so you know how to deal with it. When you're in development, it's shut up and listen. And you have to be able to take that feedback, good or bad, and be able to challenge the idea itself of what they're telling you. Sometimes you're going to have to defend yourself, because people who are developing you challenge you in ways, they will challenge you in ways that are just wrong. Either they're lying or they're telling the truth, but in your defense of yourself is where you actually develop. So it was, when you read about contending for the faith, that's what he's saying. Contend for what you believe in, because what that does is grows you and stretches you to the next level. A lot of people, when they get developed, they don't want to defend themselves. What they want to do is sit and take it and take the whatever ridicule without trying to challenge or contend. You're going to have some fire in order to get through a developmental process. Because I remember in sports, we got to the point where we were running and it just seemed like he was never going to stop. So what do? We start screaming, let's go. You get to that point where you're just like, whatever, I'll run 100 of them. I don't care. I'm gonna do 700 more push-ups. You get to that point in your mind where you just break. But that's how you get past those barriers in your head. You have to defend it. You have to defend who you are. You can't let somebody break, because what the development process does is it breaks you down to a level, breaks you down. It just it's designed to tear you down, like break you down to like the foundation, to the point where you said, all right, enough is enough. And in some instances, it breaks you down to where only you have it. Only thing you got against the wall is God. Dr. Martin said most people say, oh, my back is against the wall. No, your back is on God. You're leaning on God. That's what he said. He said people who have faith in God, they lean on him. So like you're not leaning on a wall. You're leaning on principle of God. And when you sit back and lean on the principles of God, God is the thing that holds you up, especially when you're at the lowest point in your life. When you're going through that divorce and that's all you got is God. Your kids don't like you. You know, you lose a job. Your spouse is like, oh, you a lame. How we gonna make some money? You ain't got it. All you got is that principle on God. You can only hold to his hand, God's unchanging hand. Hold to his hand, God's unchanging hand. Build your hope on things eternal. Hold to God's unchanging hand. Hey, come on now. So anyway, you have to know where you are at in this idea of change, in the change aspects. That's the point. Know where you are. Know what you are going through and acknowledge what aspect you're in this moment. For me, I just got out of a growth and development time, and that was painful. It hurts. It hurts, but you have to contend for yourself, because there are people going to try you. You're going to be tried in multiple ways. You're not going to be like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. But remember, God is the perfect listener. So during that time, I think the best advice I ever got was pray. Pray. Just pray. Because your prayer in that time is your connection back to the source. And then your answer is all spirit-led. So the only way to get through it is to be spirit-led. But sometimes people, not you, it says don't grieve the Holy Spirit. Why would you do such thing to such a precious gift? Like, why would you don't want to grieve the Holy Spirit. But sometimes the people that are thinking that they're developing you is grieving the Holy Spirit in you. It's grieving you. So it's frustrating you to the point where you have to contend for your own faith and what you believe. It's like, all right, that's enough is enough. I'm done being tormented by these lies. I'm done being tormented by these people who think I'm like this, but they don't even know who I am. I'm done. Yeah, that's enough. It's time for me to stand upright on my own too. It's time for me to stop with the BS that everyone's trying to put on me. I'm tired of it. You get tired of being tired. You get tired of quitting. You got to quit quitting. You keep moving forward. You begin to create a life it's not in your control now. Now people confuse that time where you're frustrated as you're in control. No, you're not in control. Not in control. Now, it's funny because they think the reactions during that time, it seems like you've grieved the Holy Spirit, but like a good righteous person will still stay within the principles of God and be angry at the same time and defend themselves. That's righteousness. You stand up on that. It doesn't mean you won't get angry. Jesus flipped tables for righteousness' sake, right? Don't be in here. Don't turn this place, a house of prayer, into a business market where you're selling things. You're taking the tithes of the people, buying stuff and selling it back to them. That's wrong. This is a storehouse. It said, bring your tithes into the storehouse. Don't sell it back to the people because they're hungry. They were bringing the tithes to the church, right? And then what they did with the tithes, because it was all grain and stuff, they created a market from what the people were bringing to the church. Jesus turned around and said, "Wait a minute! You've turned this place a sacred place, the place that David had in his heart for God to dwell. Right? You've taken the tabernacle, the holy of holies, the tabernacle, the altar." And you've made the altar a market where it's supposed to be a place where sacrifice is supposed to happen. Like, why would you do that? That's like, he's like, that right there is incredulous. Like, why would you take something where people are laying down the sacrifice to God? This stuff belongs to God, is what he was saying. This belongs to my Father. This is worship that you're selling the worship back to people, and they're eating their blessings. They're eating their worship. They're merchandising their worship, and you got to understand that stuff still happens today, and I don't think Jesus is happy about it. It just makes it like, when you understand these ideas, you kind of get upset just the same way, because you see the same thing happening with religion and people and the practices the things that they practice, right? Religion is just, the faith practice, how they practice, the system in which they practice in. That's religion, right? The religiousness, right? Some of the best conversations are with people who aren't religious. You know what I mean? Or they're just open. They love people in general. Like, have you ever met someone who just loves someone like who they are? Easier to talk to, relatable. Doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? They're not too hard pressed on certain topics or issues. They haven't hardened themselves. They remain open and wanting to learn and discover new things, or they've discovered a lot of stuff and they have so much wealth to share with you. They're wise in the ways of what this is. So I'm on a tangent. I don't know why I'm on this tangent, but I am. Right. Yeah. You're right. I am getting something. I am understanding something fluently, but Whew. Yeah. So anyway, make real change. Make change real. The process is beautiful. Empower your mentality. Make real change in the world. And remember, where you are in the aspects of change matters. Acknowledge where you're at, and that's a step. I'm not saying it's the first or second or the last. It's just something just some wisdom. Peace out.